The history of Greece is a fascinating journey through the cradle of Western civilization, a land where democracy was born, great philosophers walked, and myths shaped the imagination of generations. From the glory of ancient Athens and Sparta to the rise and fall of empires, Greece's story is rich with triumph, conflict, culture, and legacy. This video takes you through key moments that not only defined Greece, but also influenced the world in art, science, politics, and thought. Whether you're a history lover or simply curious about the roots of modern society, this exploration will leave you inspired and informed. The story of democracy begins in ancient Athens, one of the most influential city-states in classical Greece. Around the 5th century BC, Athens introduced a radical idea for its time, rule by the people or democratia, in Greek derived from demos people and kratos power. This concept marked a dramatic shift from monarchies and oligarchies, which had dominated the ancient world for centuries. Before democracy took root, Athens, like many Greek city-states, was ruled by aristocrats and elite families. However, as social pressures grew and the voice of the common citizen became harder to ignore, reformers such as Solon, Cleisthenes, and later Pericles began reshaping the political landscape. Cleisthenes, often referred to as the father of Athenian democracy, implemented reforms around 508 BC that broke up powerful aristocratic families and organized citizens into new voting districts known as demes. This restructuring ensured more equal representation and participation in the governing process, allowing ordinary male citizens, though not women, slaves, or foreigners, to have a say in political decisions. The Athenian democracy was direct rather than representative. This meant that citizens participated personally in decision-making. They gathered in a large assembly known as the ecclesia, where they could vote on laws, foreign policy, and war. Citizens were selected by lottery to serve in public offices, courts, and the Council of 500, a body responsible for setting the agenda of the ecclesia. This lottery system emphasized fairness and minimized corruption or the concentration of power in elite hands. One of the most notable features of Athenian democracy was the concept of isonomia, equality under the law. Every citizen, regardless of wealth or social standing, had the right to speak and contribute to public debate. This created a vibrant political culture where rhetoric, critical thinking, and debate flourished. This democratic environment helped nurture some of history's greatest thinkers, including Socrates, who challenged citizens to question authority and think independently. However, Athenian democracy was not without its flaws and contradictions. It excluded a large portion of the population, including women, enslaved people, and metics resident foreigners. Moreover, popular votes sometimes led to impulsive decisions, such as the execution of Socrates or the ill-fated Sicilian expedition during the Peloponnesian War. Despite these shortcomings, the democratic experiment in Athens became a lasting symbol of citizen empowerment and political innovation. Its principles heavily influenced Enlightenment thinkers like John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and played a foundational role in shaping modern democratic governments in the United States, Europe, and beyond. In studying the birth of democracy in ancient Greece, we gain insight into not just the origins of a political system, but also a cultural movement that valued freedom, debate, civic responsibility, and the idea that power should lie in the hands of the people, ideals that remain central to many societies today. Greek mythology is one of the most iconic and enduring aspects of ancient Greek culture, deeply intertwined with the religion, philosophy, and daily life of the people. These myths weren't just stories, they were a vital part of how ancient Greeks explained the world around them, from natural phenomena to human behavior and historical events. At the heart of Greek mythology was Mount Olympus, believed to be the home of the gods. The Olympian gods, including Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Ares, and others, ruled various aspects of life and nature. Each god had distinct personalities, powers, and stories, making them feel both divine and relatable. These deities were worshipped through rituals, festivals, offerings, and temples, such as the famous Parthenon dedicated to Athena in Athens. Unlike modern religious beliefs that often emphasize morality or strict codes, Greek religion was polytheistic and mythological, focused more on pleasing the gods and avoiding their wrath than on ethical doctrines. The gods were often depicted as flawed, emotional, and very human in nature, which helped people understand their own emotions and conflicts. For example, the jealousy of Hera, the wisdom of Athena, or the rage of Ares reflected aspects of human experience. Myths served multiple purposes. They explained natural events, e.g., thunderstorms caused by Zeus, human behavior like pride and downfall in the myth of Icarus, and cosmic origins such as the creation myths of Gaia and Uranus. These stories were also used to teach lessons, enforce cultural values, and entertain. Tales of heroes like Heracles, Hercules, Perseus, Theseus, and Odysseus inspired courage, loyalty, and wit. The epic poems of Homer, the Iliad, and the Odyssey are central to Greek mythology and literature. These works not only tell gripping stories of war, love, and adventure, but also illustrate the values of honor Cleos, hospitality Xenia, and fate Moira. The characters in these myths often struggled with choices, divine interference, and the consequences of hubris, excessive pride, or defiance of the gods. Greek myths were also essential in shaping the arts. They inspired countless sculptures, paintings, dramas, and architectural wonders. Playwrights like Sophocles, Euripides, and Aeschylus brought these stories to life on stage, exploring deep philosophical and psychological themes. Even today, modern books, movies, and TV shows continue to reinterpret these myths, from Disney's Hercules to Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson series. Religious festivals like the Olympic Games, held in honor of Zeus, combined spiritual devotion with athletic celebration. These events fostered a sense of unity among the often divided Greek city-states and showcased the religious significance of human excellence. In essence, Greek mythology wasn't just about gods and monsters. It was a rich, symbolic system that helped ancient Greeks understand their world, their fears, and their aspirations. It has left an unforgettable mark on global culture, reminding us of the timeless human quest for meaning, identity, and connection with the divine. The Golden Age of Greece, roughly spanning from 480 BC to 404 BCE, marks a period of unparalleled cultural, intellectual, and artistic achievement, especially in the city-state of Athens. This era followed the Greek victory over the Persian Empire and represents one of the most influential chapters in human history, laying the foundation for Western civilization. Under the leadership of Pericles, Athens rose to cultural and political prominence. Pericles, a skilled orator and statesman, ushered in a time of prosperity and civic pride. His vision emphasized democracy, the arts, education, and public infrastructure. He famously declared that Athens was the school of Hellas, a beacon of learning and innovation for all of Greece. One of the most visible legacies of this age is architecture, particularly the construction of the Parthenon, a magnificent temple dedicated to the goddess Athena. Built on the Acropolis, the Parthenon symbolized the power, wealth, and devotion of Athens. Its harmony, proportion, and grandeur continue to inspire architects and artists to this day. Art also flourished during this time. Greek sculptors like Phidias and Polykleitos created lifelike statues that emphasized natural movement, anatomical precision, and ideal beauty. These works moved away from rigid forms and introduced realism and expression qualities that influenced Renaissance art centuries later. Philosophy emerged as one of Greece's most profound contributions to the world during this golden period. Thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle began asking fundamental questions about existence, ethics, politics, and knowledge. Socrates encouraged critical thinking and dialogue through what became known as the Socratic method. His student Plato founded the academy, one of the first institutions of higher learning. Plato's student Aristotle contributed extensively to science, logic, ethics, and metaphysics, influencing scholars for over 2 millennia. This era also witnessed the development of drama and theater. Tragedy and comedy became central to Athenian civic life. Great playwrights like Sophocles, Euripides, and Aristophanes wrote plays that explored human nature, the gods, war, and society. The themes they tackled, justice, fate, pride, and democracy, are still deeply relevant today. Science and mathematics made remarkable progress as well. Figures such as Hippocrates, known as the father of medicine, introduced systematic medical practices. Pythagoras and later Euclid contributed foundational ideas in geometry. This spirit of inquiry and evidence-based observation set the stage for the scientific method. Politically, Athens became a model of direct democracy, with citizens taking part in legislative and judicial processes. However, the Golden Age also exposed the flaws of democratic systems, especially during times of war and political division. The Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta eventually brought the era to an end, weakening Athens and shifting the balance of power. Despite its relatively short span, the Golden Age of Greece left a permanent imprint on human civilization. Its achievements in philosophy, politics, art, science, and literature continue to shape how we think, govern, and express ourselves. To study this era is to witness the roots of modern culture and the enduring power of human potential. One of the most legendary figures in world history, Alexander the Great transformed Greece from a collection of rival cities states into the heart of a vast empire that stretched from Greece, Egypt, and as far east as India. His short but extraordinary life, 356 BC, 323 BC, left a legacy that reshaped the ancient world and laid the foundation for what historians call the Hellenistic era. Born in Pella, the capital of ancient Macedonia, Alexander was tutored by none other than Aristotle, who instilled in him a love for philosophy, science, and Greek culture. From a young age, Alexander displayed remarkable leadership and military talent. After the assassination of his father, King Philip Roman II, Alexander assumed the throne at just 20 years old and immediately set out to consolidate his power. But Alexander's ambition was far greater than just ruling Macedonia. In 334 BC, he launched a campaign against the Persian Empire, then the most powerful empire in the known world. With a relatively small but highly disciplined army, Alexander achieved one of history's most astonishing military streaks. He defeated Persian King Darius Roman III in a series of major battles, including the iconic Battle of Issus and Battle of Gaugamela. Within a few years, the Persian Empire had fallen, and Alexander declared himself its ruler. What made Alexander's conquest so extraordinary wasn't just his speed and success, but his vision. He aimed to unify East and West, encouraging intermarriage between Greeks and Persians, founding over 20 cities named Alexandria, and spreading Greek language and culture across 3 continents. This cultural fusion gave rise to the Hellenistic civilization, characterized by a blend of Greek, Egyptian, Persian, and Indian influences in art, architecture, religion, and science. In Egypt, Alexander was declared a pharaoh and founded Alexandria, which became a center of learning and culture for centuries. In India, he encountered fierce resistance at the Battle of the Hydaspes River against King Porus, a formidable opponent. Though victorious, his weary troops refused to march farther east, forcing him to return to Babylon. Alexander's campaigns were not just military operations, they were journeys of cultural expansion. He brought Greek knowledge and ideas to the East while absorbing elements of local traditions, religions, and governance. His empire became a melting pot where Greek rationalism met Eastern spirituality. Tragically, Alexander died in 323 BC at just 32 years old, possibly from fever, poisoning, or complications of exhaustion. With no clear successor, his vast empire was divided among his generals, known as the Diadochi, leading to decades of conflict and fragmentation. Despite his early death, Alexander's impact was immense. He is remembered as a military genius, a visionary leader, and a catalyst of cultural diffusion. His actions triggered a new era in history, one where Greek language and ideas spread far beyond the Aegean, influencing Roman, Byzantine, and even Islamic civilizations. Alexander the Great didn't just conquer lands, he connected worlds. His legacy is a testament to the power of vision, ambition, and cross-cultural influence in shaping global history. After centuries of cultural and military dominance, Greece eventually fell under foreign control, first by the Romans and later by the Byzantine Empire. Although these transitions marked the end of Greek political independence, they also ensured the survival and transformation of Greek culture, language, and religion for over a millennium. In 146 BC, after a series of conflicts known as the Macedonian Wars, the Roman Republic officially conquered mainland Greece. By 27 BC, the region became part of the Roman Empire, integrated as the province of Achaea. While some Greeks saw this as a loss of sovereignty, others viewed it as an opportunity. Remarkably, instead of erasing Greek culture, the Romans admired and absorbed it. Roman elites studied Greek philosophy, literature, and science. Greek teachers were in high demand in Roman households, and many Roman gods were directly modeled after Greek deities e.g., Zeus became Jupiter, Aphrodite became Venus. Greek became the language of the educated class across the empire, especially in the eastern provinces. Cities like Athens, Corinth, and Ephesus flourished as intellectual centers under Roman rule. Temples, theaters, and bathhouses were built using Roman engineering fused with Greek aesthetics. The blend of Roman governance and Greek culture created a Greco-Roman world, laying the cultural foundations of Western civilization. Then came a dramatic shift in the 4th century CE, when Emperor Constantine moved the capital of the Roman Empire from Rome to Byzantium, later renamed Constantinople Modern, de Istanbul. This marked the beginning of the Byzantine Empire, which would rule the eastern Mediterranean, including Greece, for over 0 years. The Byzantine Empire, though Roman in origin, became increasingly Greek in culture and language. Greek replaced Latin as the dominant language, and Christianity, legalized by Constantine, became the state religion. Greece thus transitioned from a land of pagan temples to one of Orthodox Christian churches, monasteries, and theological scholarship. One of the most lasting legacies of the Byzantine period was the preservation of classical Greek knowledge. While much of Western Europe descended into the Dark Ages after the fall of Rome, Byzantine scholars kept alive the works of Plato, Aristotle, Euclid, Hippocrates, and many others. This intellectual continuity played a vital role in sparking the European Renaissance centuries later, when these texts were rediscovered and translated into Latin. The Byzantine period also brought new challenges and threats. Greece faced invasions by Slavs, Bulgars, Normans, and eventually the Ottoman Turks. Despite this, the Byzantine influence remained strong, shaping Greek identity, architecture with its iconic domes and mosaics, and spirituality. By the time the Ottoman Empire conquered Constantinople in 1453, the Byzantine world had already left a profound imprint on Greece. Even during centuries of Ottoman rule, the Greek Orthodox Church, established in the Byzantine period, helped preserve national identity and cultural heritage. In short, while Greece lost its ancient political autonomy under Roman and Byzantine rule, it remained a cultural powerhouse, influencing and being influenced by two of history's greatest empires. This fusion ensured that Greek ideas and identity endured through the ages, evolving yet never disappearing. After centuries under foreign rule, first by the Romans, then the Byzantines, and finally the Ottomans, Greece experienced a powerful national awakening in the 19th century. The struggle for modern Greek independence was not only a political and military movement, but also a profound cultural revival, reconnecting the people of Greece with their ancient heritage and laying the foundation for a modern European nation. By the late 1700s and early 1800s, the Greek people had endured nearly 400 years of Ottoman rule. Although many Greeks retained their language, religion, and some cultural traditions under Ottoman dominion, they were heavily taxed, had limited political rights, and were largely excluded from administrative power. However, the Greek Orthodox Church and the memory of ancient Greek glory helped preserve a strong sense of identity. The Enlightenment in Europe, with its emphasis on liberty, democracy, and nationalism, greatly influenced Greek intellectuals living both in Greece and abroad. Figures like Adamantios Korais promoted the idea of reconnecting with ancient Hellenic ideals. Revolutionary fervor, inspired by the American and French revolutions, also spread among educated Greeks and diaspora communities, particularly in cities like Paris and Vienna. In 1821, the Greek War of Independence began a bold and risky rebellion against the powerful Ottoman Empire. The uprising was spearheaded by revolutionary groups such as the Philiki Eteria Society of Friends, along with local leaders, clergy, and peasants. The war was brutal and prolonged, lasting nearly a decade, with atrocities committed on both sides. Key battles like the Siege of Missolonghi and the Battle of Navarino were turning points in the war. European powers, particularly Britain, France, and Russia, eventually intervened, not just out of political interest, but due to growing public support and admiration for Greek culture across the West. Philhellenism, the love of Greek history and ideals, played a huge role. Famous figures such as Lord Byron, the British poet, even fought and died for the Greek cause. In 1830, Greece was officially recognized as an independent state, with the Treaty of London marking its sovereignty. In 1832, Prince Otto of Bavaria was installed as the first king of the newly formed Kingdom of Greece. Although the road ahead was rocky, marked by political instability, wars, and economic struggles, Greece had reclaimed its place on the map. Over the following decades, Greece gradually expanded its territory, incorporating regions like Thessaly, Epirus, Crete, and the Aegean Islands. The country played key roles in the Balkan Wars, World Wars, and endured a military dictatorship in the 20th century before transitioning to a stable parliamentary democracy by the 1970s. Modern Greece is a proud member of the European Union, NATO, and the United Nations. Its journey from subjugation to sovereignty is a powerful story of resilience, identity, and national pride. Today, Greece balances its ancient legacy with modern aspirations, continuing to be a cultural bridge between East and West. The Greek independence movement is more than just a national story. It's a symbol of how deeply rooted history, culture, and the human spirit can triumph over centuries of oppression.